Hello dear students, this is my fourth lecture on Oedipus the King by Sophocles. I have already completed three of my lectures previously, which I hope you have followed. In my previous lecture, that is in my third lecture, I had wished to include the analysis of the text, but of course, thinking about the possible inordinate length of the video lecture that I am preparing, I discarded the idea. So this is my fourth lecture on the analysis of the text of Oedipus the King by Sophocles. So let's start. Um, as the play opens, Oedipus, the king of Thebes, is on the stage proscenium. You must get the idea of proscenium, so learn about what proscenium is. From it is a kind of it's part of the stagecraft. Okay, so he is on the stagecraft. A group of priests, led by the oldest among them, they meet uh, Oedipus on the stage. So the play starts. The priest, the head priest, the oldest among the priests, describes that a plague has hit their land, the city of Thebes, and it is ravaging the entire city with blight and pestilence. So the priest mm, uh, in fact, requests Oedipus for quick action and reminds Oedipus of his quick action regarding the Sphinx, who had also attacked the city of Thebes and eating up people who were unable to solve the riddle that he was asking them. So Oedipus here is made to recall that incident, and this is actually a part of appraisal that the priests are in fact indulging. By appraising Oedipus, they are requesting Oedipus that in the same way he should come forward to save the people of Thebes, the city of Thebes. Oedipus now here expresses his sympathies at first hand to these people and tells them that he knows about the plague. He knows it very well that a plague is ravaging the city. Now, before these priests had requested him to take any action, you'll be surprised to see that he was such a sympathetic leader, such a good king, that he had already started taking actions about this particular situation that was afflicting the people of the city of Thebes. What was the action? That he has already sent Creon. He has already sent Creon, brother of Jocasta, his wife, or his son, his brother-in-law. Oedipus's brother-in-law was Creon. So he already sent Creon to the oracle for the measures to be taken to, in fact, do away with this plague. So the play is moving forward with Creon's arrival in the scene, and Creon informs that he has met the oracle, and the oracle told that the plague will end when the murderer of Laius, the former king, is either banished or killed. Oedipus immediately swears and assures all the people and the priest as well that he will take action to find out the murderer to save the city from the plague. The scene ends with the chorus singing appraisals of the Oedipus and of Zeus and of Apollo as well. Now, in the following scene, Oedipus makes a public appearance and asks from the people. Okay, this is a very important scene because here king is making a public appearance, addressing his people, his subjects, the people of the city of Thebes. Here what he's doing, he is asking the people that if someone knows about the murder of King Laius, he promises that if the murderer himself admits his sin or guilt of committing the murder of King Laius, then he will not be punished by death. Rather, he will be simply sent in exile so that the city of Thebes is saved. So, this is a good side of administration on the part of Oedipus. He also says that when nobody comes forward to admit that he has committed the guilt, who will come? Because Oedipus himself is the murderer. So he finally announces for reward that whoever will give the information about the murder, he will be rewarded. Okay, but still there was nobody to come forward to give any information about the murderer, because nobody had any idea about who the murderer was. Now Oedipus curses the murderer, and uh, mm, finally, and anybody, he says, anybody, whoever is sheltering the murderer will be punished. Okay, and even if it is known later on that he himself is also sheltering, no, unknowingly, the murderer, then he will also punish himself. So he actually says it. I will just I have noted down the quotation. I will read out the quotation. I mean, what Oedipus says about in his public appearance. Quotation starts: "Now my curse on the murderer, whoever he is, a lone man unknown in his crime, or one among many. Let that man drag out his life in agony, step by painful step. I curse myself as well. I curse myself as well, if by any chance he proves to be an intimate of our house here at my hearth. With my full knowledge, may the curse I just called down on him strike me." So Oedipus is so keen to search out the murderer that he summons the in the next scene, he summons the blind prophet Tiresias to seek help from him to find out the murderer. Now, Tiresias was a blind prophet, as I told it in my earlier lecture, that he was a prophet. He was gifted with the capacity of prophecy, and then he could see, he had the visionary capacity of seeing the past, present, as well as the future. So this Tiresias, of course, he is a kind of omniscient character. Omniscient stands for one who knows all. He knows past, present, and future. So obviously, Tiresias knew who the murderer was or is, but Tiresias here comes on the stage quite reluctantly, because one thing is clear: Tiresias does not want to actually reveal the identity of the murderer, uh, because that will in fact trouble the king as well as the people of the city of the Thebes. But he wished that the course of the action should take place in his own way, not to be in fact initiated by any person. He wished that, but things took place abruptly in a different way, because when Tiresias came on the stage, and when he was asked to reveal the identity of the murderer, he first denied. But his denial, his refusal to speak the truth, was taken alternatively. That means Tiresias started taking it as a kind of you can say it, an act of treachery, and by Tiresias. So I will say I will come to that point. But what is happening here? Tiresias, when he is asked here to reveal the identity of the murderer, Tiresias, in a cryptic way, suggests that it is better to avoid that question, and let us live our life in our own way as we are leading it now. As he says, I had quoted this line in my previous lecture. I'm still quoting it now. He says, just quote unquote, "You bear your own burdens, I will bear mine." He is speaking to Oedipus. "You bear your own burdens, I will bear mine. It's better that way, please believe me." But as I said, Oedipus did not believe in Tiresias, because he is still in pursuit of the murderer. And the motivation that is working in Oedipus is to bring a respite from the ongoing plague that is ravaging the people of the city of Thebes. So this refusal, when Oedipus actually refused to say, this refusal of Oedipus had infuriated uh, Oedipus. Refusal of Tiresias, sorry, infuriated Oedipus, and it infuriated him so much that he now blames Tiresias for providing shelter to the murderer. So this is a direct accusation basically. The king Oedipus blames him further that he must have taken part in Laius' murder. Therefore, he is not telling the truth. The king brags that when this city was in trouble by Sphinx, he had come forward to help the people of the city of Thebes. Now he is also coming forward to say help the city of the Thebes and the people of the Thebes. Where was Tiresias at that time? He is raising the question. Where were his prophecies to save the city of the people of the city? Here, of course, Tiresias is silent. Tiresias knows everything, but he is keeping silent. And this silence again infuriates Oedipus. The blind poet remains cool, and this infuriates Oedipus. Okay, and here, in fact, unfortunately, Oedipus once again exhibits his arrogance. This is what we can also call hubris. Okay, so Oedipus he tells that I will just quote one line spoken by Oedipus. That quote starts, "Oh, I will let loose. I have such fury in my. Now I see it all. You helped hatch the plot. You did the work. Yes, short of killing him with your own hands and given eyes, I would say you did the killing single-handed." So this is a blatant accusation that Oedipus is making, giving to upon or accusing Tiresias directly. When he is again silent, um, as I said, he was infuriated. So finally, Tiresias, he, in fact, in a cryptic way, he suggests that none other than Oedipus himself is the murderer. He said, quote unquote, "I say you are the murderer, you hunt." So you are the murderer, you hunt. So the murderer you are searching for is none other than you. You see, this is where the drama should have flowed in a different way. Had not been Oedipus infuriated, enraged by his own fury, by his own arrogance. Because here too, when Tiresias is directly telling him, insinuating him directly that the murderer he is searching for is none other than he himself, out of his arrogance, out of his hubris, Oedipus could not read the entire message, could not read what Tiresias had to say. Rather, Oedipus thought this is the accusation that Tiresias is making, as he was also, in fact, blaming him or accusing him. So here, Oedipus becomes more infuriated and declares that the blind poet, prophet, and his brother-in-law Creon, they are together making a plot to thwart his throne. Right. So Tiresias is, when he reveals, it is ignored. But one thing is certain. In the next scene onward, we'll see that Oedipus is highly moved. So he is between belief and disbelief, whether to believe in Tiresias or whether to not to believe, because he thinks that Tiresias was blaming him. But what happens if that is true, that he is the murderer himself? So that is the reason why he was, in fact, searching for the truth of his own parentage, of his own identity. And of course, the motivation by which he was propelled was to save his people. So, this is the one reason for which our sympathy always rushes for Oedipus, and we feel empathized when he suffers, right? So, here in the next scene, we see Chorus appears on the stage and wonders at the prophet's accusation in their song. Being a kingly matter, Chorus is confused and horrified. Still, they favor the king until his charge of murder is proved. Creon, we see in the next scene, we see Creon is in front of Oedipus, and he is going on denying most humbly. He is denying the charge of plotting against the king Oedipus. Oedipus starts behaving somewhat irrationally, because Oedipus is, as I mentioned, he is being, in fact, led by his own fury, his own rage. So he is not behaving rationally and logically. He again and again repeats his charge against Creon to, in fact, have plotted against his own throne. Creon tries to pacify Oedipus, but even Jocasta comes in to pacify Oedipus. And Jocasta has some premonitions in her mind that whatever the destiny that they are being laid at in the future, in the near future, that is not going to be very much good for them, very much pleasant for them. So Jocasta comes forward, and she tries to persuade that Oedipus needs not be very much infuriated. Instead, he should come down, and he should not believe in even Tiresias. Okay, and this pursuit after truth should be discarded. But no, Oedipus was not to stop there. Oedipus uh, asks for if there is any witness of Laius' murder. And here in this next scene, there is the appearance of a shepherd. Now, this shepherd, he was the same shepherd actually, who was the only living witness to the murder episode, or the murder scene that had taken place, okay, and carried out by Oedipus. That means Oedipus killing Laius. It was seen by this shepherd, and this was the same shepherd who was entrusted with the duty to dispose of the baby Oedipus on the Mount Cithaeron. But out of pity, he had saved this boy, Oedipus, baby Oedipus, and had passed it over to a messenger. This messenger will also turn up here. This messenger has come from the city of Corinth, okay, with the message that the king of Corinth has died a natural death. Now, the king of Corinth, who Oedipus believed to be his father, has died a natural death, and this, in fact, makes Oedipus very happy, because he is still ignorant. He is still ignorant that the king of Corinth was not his father. But he is quite worried over the fact that the queen of Corinth is still alive. That means the queen is still not dead. So his mother is still alive. So maybe the prophecy will be fulfilled by marrying the Queen of Corinth. But no, things are not going to happen this way, because the same messenger informs him, quite jubilantly, "O king, you need not worry, because you were a foundling. You are not the real son of king and queen of Corinth." Now, this was something, a kind of first a revelation that once again made Oedipus to ponder over, to think over who his parents were. So, of course, the doubts are, in fact, are around his mind, around his brain, which are invading him again and again, and the information that King of Corinth and the Queen of Corinth were not his parents. This again, in fact, brings him back to the same path of pursuit for truth. So the shepherd is once again called upon the stage, and this is where the shepherd reveals the fact that he is the same fated baby who was entrusted with him to be disposed on the Mount Cithaeron. Instead, he had given it to messenger, who in turn gave it to the king of Corinth and queen of Corinth, and he was none other than the son of King Laius and Queen Jocasta. So after this, in fact, what happens? You know everything, you know it all. There is nothing for revelation, nothing for more contemplation. There was no pursuit of for truth any longer. But Oedipus has come to know, the anagnorisis has taken place. Now at this hour, meanwhile, Jocasta coming to know everything about this, she has committed suicide, okay, by hanging herself. And then uh, Oedipus, he in panic, in fact commits a kind of self-punishing act, that is gouging out his own eyes with the hairpin of Jocasta. So that was the analysis of the text. I hope you enjoyed it. I will have another last lecture, that will be my fifth and last lecture on Oedipus the Sophocles. I hope you will follow that too. Thank you.